Good day, it's Candace Mae Training and Services. Today, I want to share with you a story, rags to riches, so to say. It's about my life, and it's about starting out. You know, when I was 19, I grew up in Michigan. My father was the youngest of 14, and my mom was the only child. I was the youngest of 5. So there was a huge contrast in my family. Comes from a very old family, right? My dad was from Georgia, south in the deep south, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, up against the Chattanooga Forest. We have property there today. And my father, though passed, came from a very different lifestyle. Raised mostly by siblings, because being the youngest of 14, born in the 20s, 1920s. Wow, that was 1920s. This is 2020. Wow. I come from a very old family. My mother, also born in the 1920s, was the only child, though. So you see right there alone, there's a culture conflict. So I grew up in Michigan, where my mom and dad lived, and they separated, they divorced when I was in 8th grade. And I grew up wanting more, wanting to be the best me that I could be. My father, coming from the deep south, was very prejudiced, very locked into certain belief systems. My mother grew up in Vincennes, Indiana, moved to New York for a while, and she appeared to be much more open, much more accepting, accept everyone as they are, right? So very contrasting beliefs growing up. And me being the youngest of 5, guess what I was? I was a black sheep. I was the outspoken one. Like when Dad kicked into his stories of being very strong and prejudiced, I would stand my ground. That's not right. That's not right. Everyone's equal. We can do more, better. And my siblings would say, hey, Candy, calm down. You don't have to argue with Dad. And I said, I do. I have to argue with him. I have to argue with him. I have to stand up against those beliefs that he has, because his beliefs are so closed and I don't agree with them. And if I agree with them, then that means I'm going to lessen who I am on the inside, and I'm going to be subject to accepting his beliefs as if they're okay, and they're not okay. I leaned more toward my mom and her open beliefs of everyone being equal. Have you ever watched the Star Trek movie where it wasn't Kirk, it was the next one, Bernard, and he gets captured and they're trying to brainwash him with the lights red and green, or blue, what it is, and he's almost at the breaking point, when they rescue him, and he said, thank God. Then if they'd asked me one more time, I was going to say the light was blue when it was really green. And that's what happens when we give in to belief systems that are not our own. It changes us. It changes us. So I became very prominent and very strong in speaking out of what I felt was truth. Well, the story I wanted to share with you this is the background. And so at 19, I decided I needed to move away from Michigan, because I needed to break away from these family systems that were in place that were so staunch, and become the best person that I could be. I had accepted the Lord at 13, and my mom didn't like the church I belonged to, so she didn't want me to be a part of that. And so I honored her, and I wasn't for a while, and asked the Lord to follow me and keep me safe. And I have to tell you, he did that. When I moved to California, my oldest child ended up with meningitis, and I thought she was going to die at 10 months. She was in isolation. It was a very big deal, and I was alone out here. My faith kicked back in. God found me where I was, and I believe he used that situation to draw me close to him. And I've never left him ever since. My oldest is now 34, almost 35. And My faith has grown every year because God has seen me through those difficult times. So when I left Michigan, I was 19 and I got to California. I had my daughter, I turned 21 3 days after she was born. And I was a single mom for a good many years. And that's my rags to riches story, that, I had nothing for a while. It was hard to pay the bills. There was no electricity money. There was, there was no food. There were times it was very, very difficult. And I drew on my faith. And sometimes I would wake up in the morning and there was food on my doorstep. And sometimes, I loaned my car to a neighbor because my license got revoked because I couldn't afford the car insurance. And then my neighbor never returned my car, right? But then a church provided me with enough funds to get a car. Out of the blue, I didn't ask. God's always provided for me. When my oldest was 4, I think she was 4, God wanted me to go back to college. And I was like, how am I going to go back to college? He said, I want you to go back to college. I want you to go to a Christian college. And not only a Christian, not just college, public school, grants and all of that, low cost. He wanted me to go to a private school. So I stepped out, filled out the application, and the rest is history. I finished. I got accepted. And there were obstacles in that. That's a story in and of itself. That was a story in and of itself, with going to college and passing that entrance exam and not taking it seriously. And yet God still opened the door for me to get in on probation. I mean, I graduated high school with honors, right? So I didn't take that college exam serious. I just kind of haphazarded it. And they said, your scores are like crazy. We've never seen anybody like this. And I said, well, I didn't really take it serious. I heard a few days before on the radio, a 50-50 chance. So I just, knowing that it was timed, I just zipped through some that I didn't know and just put anything down. So you would think that I wouldn't have made it in, but God opened the doors and I got in. And of course, I was on the dean's list, the president's list, every semester of my years and graduated with honors. And then I went on to get my master's degree. But my point here is, I stepped out in faith, even when I didn't think I had a chance. And God met me in those moments and carried me to success. And I have to tell you that my success, I believe, is from God. Not anything because of me. The talents that I have are great, but they're not because of anything of me. God gave me those gifts. He gave me those gifts. I have a gift to teach. I have a gift to inspire and persuade and help people see their blind spots and grow. I think that's a gift from God, but it is a gift, and I can help you. I have had those beautiful Mercedes. I have had the home on the golf course. I have had 4,200 square foot home on a 2-acre hill overlooking the lake. I have had my own home twice, not being married, and they were beautiful homes. I've been there. Now my passion is to help other people, embrace who they are and become their best selves, because it is exciting. I find it so exciting to learn about myself, to grow, to become the best person I can. I'm always up-leveling to the next level of my growth. And I want to encourage you to do the same, because you know what happens? When you take time to go inside yourself and do the work and really stretch yourself, it can't help but show up in positive ways in your career, in your family, in your neighborhood. I'm honored to be Commissioner of the Parks and Rec with the City of Marietta. I love giving back to the community. I love interfacing with the public and the people. And I'm always growing myself. So there's ripple effects to what I do that are rippling out to other people. If you want to ripple out in positive ways to the people in your life, leave me a message here. contact me, send me a private message, or give me a call. My number's here, and let's connect. See if we can work together. Have a blessed day.